In the early 2000s, the notorious company TechCorp had the ambitious goal of revolutionizing the tech industry. They initially began as a small startup based in Silicon Valley, but within a decade, TechCorp had grown into one of the largest players in the tech world, boasting billions in revenue. However, success came with its own set of challenges, many of which would push the company to its breaking point. TechCorp's rapid expansion was fueled by its flagship product, a groundbreaking virtual reality system that quickly became a household name. The company's initial success was based on creating a fully immersive, interactive experience unlike anything the market had ever seen before. Quickly gained a cult following, but it didn't take long for things to take a darker turn. As the demand for TechCorp's products grew, the company faced mounting pressure to scale up operations. To meet these demands, they began to push their employees harder, expanding their facilities and ramping up production. The fast-paced work environment began to take its toll on the staff, with reports of burnout, long hours, and unhealthy conditions. Behind closed doors, however, TechCorp was also facing other challenges. The company was dealing with fierce competition from rival companies in the tech space, and tensions were rising internally as top executives clashed over the direction the company should take. Despite these pressures, TechCorp continued to dominate the market, maintaining its lead as the go-to brand for virtual reality technology. But it wasn't long before cracks began to show in TechCorp's seemingly perfect facade. In 2015, a series of high-profile security breaches sent shockwaves through the tech world. Hackers managed to infiltrate the company's servers, gaining access to private user data and exposing a number of vulnerabilities in TechCorp systems. The breach sparked a massive backlash from both consumers and regulators, who were outraged by the company's failure to protect sensitive information. It was a wake-up call for TechCorp, but instead of taking responsibility, they attempted to downplay the severity of the situation, which only worsened the public's perception of the company. As the public outcry grew louder, TechCorp's CEO, James Archer, found himself under intense scrutiny. Archer, once hailed as a visionary leader, began to lose favor with both the public and his board of directors. Behind the scenes, whispers of a potential leadership change circulated, but Archer remained defiant, insisting that he was the only one capable of steering the company through the storm. Despite Archer's insistence on maintaining control, it became clear that the company was spiraling out of control. In an attempt to regain consumer trust, TechCorp launched a massive PR campaign aimed at repairing their damaged reputation. However, their efforts were met with skepticism, and the company's stock price began to plummet. By 2017, the situation had worsened even further. Reports of internal conflict and worker unrest within the company began to surface. Employees complained of toxic management, a lack of support, and a culture of fear that permeated every level of the organization. The once thriving company now seemed on the verge of collapse. TechCorp's downfall took a darker turn in 2018 when a whistleblower came forward with shocking revelations. The former employee, who had worked in the company's R&D department, exposed a series of unethical practices related to the company's product development. According to the whistleblower, TechCorp had been aware of serious flaws in their virtual reality systems for years, but had actively concealed them from consumers in order to maintain their market dominance. The whistleblower's allegations ignited a firestorm of controversy, leading to investigations by both government agencies and independent watchdog groups. The company's legal troubles mounted, and TechCorp found itself embroiled in multiple lawsuits, further damaging its reputation. As the company's legal battles intensified, its financial situation grew increasingly dire. The once profitable business was now hemorrhaging money, and investors began to lose confidence in its future. By 2019, TechCorp had laid off thousands of employees in a desperate bid to stay afloat. But the company's troubles were far from over. In 2020, the situation took an even more dramatic turn. A group of former executives who had been ousted from the company filed a class action lawsuit against TechCorp, alleging that the company had systematically manipulated financial reports in order to inflate its stock price. The lawsuit accused the company of engaging in fraudulent practices that misled investors and led to significant financial losses. The class action lawsuit only added to the company's growing list of legal issues. As the pressure mounted, James Archer was forced to step down as CEO, leaving the company in the hands of an interim leader. TechCorp's future now seemed uncertain, with many speculating that the once giant tech company might soon be forced into bankruptcy. By the end of 2020, TechCorp was a shell of its former self. The company's virtual reality product line had been discontinued, and its once loyal customer base had moved on to rival brands. The tech world that had once hailed TechCorp as a pioneer was now left wondering how such a dominant force could fall so quickly. TechCorp's fall from grace was a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and corporate greed. The company had once been at the forefront of innovation, but it was ultimately undone by its own internal dysfunctions, ethical lapses, and failure to adapt to changing market conditions. In the wake of TechCorp's collapse, former employees and industry experts began to reflect on the company's rise and fall. Many pointed to the company's cutthroat corporate culture as one of the primary reasons for its downfall. The constant pressure to innovate, combined with a lack of empathy for employees, created an environment that was ripe for exploitation and failure. There were also questions about the role of corporate governance in TechCorp's decline. Critics argued that the company's board of directors had failed to adequately monitor Archer's leadership and had allowed him to steer the company toward disaster. As the company's downfall unfolded, it became clear that there were many lessons to be learned from TechCorp's mistakes. Despite the company's fall, there were still some remnants of its former glory. A number of former employees went on to launch successful startups, using the skills and knowledge they had gained at TechCorp. Some even found success in rival companies, but for many, the scars of TechCorp's collapse would never fully heal. The story of TechCorp is not one of failure alone, however. It is also a story of resilience. After the dust settled, a group of former employees and entrepreneurs began working together to rebuild the pieces of the company that had once been lost. They formed a new organization dedicated to ethical tech development and began working on projects that prioritized transparency, privacy, and consumer rights. In a way, TechCorp's downfall led to the birth of a new generation of tech companies that were focused not only on profit but also on responsibility. These companies learned from the mistakes of TechCorp and set out to create a better, more sustainable future for the tech industry. Today, many of the leaders who emerged from the ashes of TechCorp are at the forefront of a new wave of innovation. These entrepreneurs are committed to creating products that are both groundbreaking and ethical, and they are working to rebuild the trust that was lost during TechCorp's rise and fall. The impact of TechCorp's story can still be felt in the tech world today. Many of the industry's biggest players have adopted new policies and practices designed to prevent the kind of corporate dysfunction that plagued TechCorp. There is now a stronger emphasis on transparency, accountability, and worker welfare, and the lessons learned from TechCorp's collapse continue to shape the future of the tech industry. The legacy of TechCorp's rise and fall is a complex one. On one hand, the company's groundbreaking innovations changed the world in profound ways. But on the other hand, its failure to maintain ethical standards and care for its employees ultimately led to its downfall. In the years since TechCorp's collapse, many have speculated about what might have happened if the company had taken a different approach. What if they had placed a greater emphasis on ethics and employee well-being? Could they have continued to lead the tech world? Or would their ambition have eventually led to the same outcome? TechCorp's story serves as a reminder of the fragility of success and the dangers of unchecked power. It shows that even the most successful companies are vulnerable to collapse if they fail to adapt and evolve with the times. The story of TechCorp is a testament to the importance of maintaining integrity and responsibility in the face of success. Today, the tech world is a much different place than it was when TechCorp was at its peak. The industry has evolved, and new players have emerged to take the lead. But the lessons of TechCorp still resonate, and many in the industry are determined not to repeat the mistakes of the past. For those who lived through the rise and fall of TechCorp, the story will always serve as a cautionary tale. It's a reminder that even the most ambitious dreams can be derailed by internal dysfunction and a failure to prioritize ethics over profit. The legacy of TechCorp's collapse is not one of despair, but rather a call to action. It's a reminder that the tech industry must continue to evolve and learn from its past mistakes. The companies of the future must be more transparent, more ethical, and more responsible than ever before. As the tech world moves forward, the lessons of TechCorp will continue to shape the industry's direction. The company's rise and fall may have been a dramatic chapter in the history of tech, but it's one that will not soon be forgotten. The story of TechCorp is a reminder that success is never guaranteed. It's a lesson in the importance of balancing ambition with responsibility, innovation with ethics, and it's a cautionary tale for those who would seek to change the world without considering the consequences of their actions. As time passes, TechCorp's legacy will continue to serve as a reminder of the dangers of unchecked corporate power. The company's downfall may have been tragic, but it also paved the way for a new era of tech development, one that is focused on sustainability and accountability. Today, many of the former employees who were once caught in the